What about, instead of normalizing taking pills, we normalize finding the root of our trauma and doing the hard fucking work to get rid of it so that we can be healthy? This is probably going to be triggering for some of you, and I just want to say that at the beginning, trigger warning. I'm going to talk about Lyme disease. I'm going to talk about pills. I'm going to talk about medicine. I'm going to talk about why the fuck can't we just do the hard work and find the trauma and release it. Because here's the truth of it. It doesn't matter how many pills you take. It doesn't matter how many treatments you do. It doesn't matter how many doctors you see, because the only person in control of your story is you. The only person in control of your healing is you. You have all of that power. You are so fucking powerful. And this is something that just blows my mind all the time when I am looking into Lyme disease and I'm looking into what's going on in the community, because it just blows my mind that what people are talking about is normalizing being on medicine for the rest of their life. Needing to take pills for the rest of their life. Why? Why would we normalize that? Yes, it is normal, because most people who have Lyme end up having to do that for some time. I did. I'm not saying that is not a valid experience to have. It's very, very, very valid. And if that is your experience, then I see you and I honor you in the validity and pain of that experience, because it is hard. But stop normalizing it in your life. If we keep normalizing keeping ourselves on medicines, even if they're supplements, if we keep normalizing saying, I'm always going to have a doctor, I'm always going to have symptoms, I'm always going to have something, we are normalizing keeping ourselves sick. Why would you normalize keeping yourself sick? Why? Why would you normalize it? No, instead, let's normalize doing the hard fucking work. My podcast episode, or the podcast episode on the Prismatic Heart of the Seven Sisters yesterday, where I was talking about my journey with Mary, was all about how I've healed myself now 3 times quantumly. I talked about 2 during that episode because when we recorded that episode, I had not yet had my 3rd healing, which I've just gone through. But the first 2 were for Lyme disease, and this 3rd one was for chronic digestive problems. The first 2 times I put myself in remission, and then I fully fucking healed myself. I stopped thinking it was normal to be taking pills. I stopped thinking it was normal to have to go to a doctor. I stopped thinking it was normal to have to ask anyone outside of myself what to do. I started thinking it was normal to ask people for guidance and help. How do I find my triggers? How do I find my shadow? How do I find my root cause? I started thinking it was normal to do the really hard work every fucking day. I started thinking it was normal to spend my time, instead of watching TV, which I still did, but instead of doing as much of it, I spent my time meditating. I spent my time in nature. I spent my time in conversation with my body, in conversation with my guides, in conversation with spirits, with my ancestors, to figure out why in the world I was sick, so that I could release it. Because I realized, finally, I realized that it's my responsibility if I'm sick. It's no one else's responsibility. And until we normalize that, until we are willing to say, yes, it is our responsibility that we're sick. It's not our fault. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And there is a difference. And if you don't see that difference, then take some time and think about it, because there is a difference. I'm not saying it's your fault you're sick, but it is your responsibility. Just like it was my responsibility that I was sick. And one of the best things that happened last summer when I was going through healing myself for the 2nd time very intensely is that I was alone. I had to take responsibility because there was no one else around to take responsibility for anything. There was no one else around to drive me anywhere. There was no one else around to go buy me food. There was no one else around to take care of my house or my animals. I had to take responsibility. Yes, I was sick. I had dis-ease in my body, but it was my responsibility to get rid of it. And I also realized finally, no doctor was going to be able to do it for me. No practitioner was going to be able to do it for me. They could help me, and I had some amazing practitioners who helped me get to the point where I was ready to dive deep into my shit. And I did some of it with people. I didn't do all of it by myself. No, I used people's offers, people's services to get myself to a point where I could do the hard work, but I made it my responsibility. I actually had to take taking care of other people. I was responsible for other people, and they weren't there to be responsible for me in any way. So I had to make it my own responsibility, and you need to make it your responsibility too. Don't normalize being sick. Don't normalize only going into remission. Don't normalize taking 100 pills a day. Normalize the fact that it's a valid thing that you're going through. It is so valid. You're so seen. You're so seen. I see you. I used to take probably 60 pills a day. And I couldn't swallow half of them by the end because I was so nauseated. But I stopped normalizing it. I did normalize it. I did normalize it for myself, and then I realized that was so fucking unhealthy, and so I stopped. Stop. It's no one's responsibility besides yourself. But it is your responsibility to ask for help when you need it, but not to make others help you. Not to make others take over your life, or make your life take over other people's lives. And I did that. My sickness became my family's life for a while. But luckily I was in school for part of it, so then I had to take care of myself more. But take responsibility for yourself. You have the power inside you. This is such a gift. Being sick is the biggest gift I've ever gotten, because it allowed me to see exactly where I was out of alignment. Healing is realigning ourselves. Healing is reawakening ourselves to our purpose, to our path, to our gifts. It is beautiful. It is such a gift. It is such a gift to heal. It is such a gift to be given dis-ease, to be given illness, so that we can work through it. It's like the universe literally giving us a kick in the ass and saying, look, you have this that you need to heal. Like, literally physical kick in the ass. It's literally forcing us to wake up. So wake up. Wake up. You are so powerful, and that is the most empowering thing I ever realized for myself, was that I was so fucking powerful. I could heal myself. And when I look back at my story, I go, holy shit, I'm so fucking powerful. I healed myself 3 times. And so can you. We all can. That's the beauty of this, is that we all can. But we have to choose to, and we have to take responsibility for it, and we have to step away from being sick. That was the most important thing I did. Was I looked at myself in the mirror one morning. I woke up, I looked in the mirror, and I said, I'm done being sick. This has been my reality. I'm done. I no longer allow myself to think I'm sick. And if I do, I push that, I absorb that thought, I give it love, and I blow it away. Literally, like if you pick up a dandelion and you blow the petals away, same thing. Don't normalize it. Take responsibility for it. And choose to go into the really deep, hard stuff. And not the deep, hard medicine stuff. That's super important, yeah. If that's where you feel called in your journey, then you do that. But like I've said at the beginning, the super deep, dark, hard medicine stuff, that's not going to do anything if you haven't gone super deep, dark inside yourself. Where is your shadow? What are you holding on to? What is your shame? What are your triggers? That is where you have to go first. And it's not easy. It's really fucking scary. It's really scary to have to go in there and see, what in the world am I holding on to? What am I telling myself? But that's what we have to do. That's what I did. And that is what I tell people to do now that work with me. And it works. We have to be willing to see what is really hard to see. The things that no one of us wants to go back to. Our traumas in this life, our traumas in past life, our traumas from our ancestors that we're holding in our DNA. We have to be willing to go back and see it and release it. And so that's the first thing. That should be the number one most important thing in your healing. Because we are literally what our body carries, and our body is carrying any trauma our body is carrying, that is what needs to be released. Because any trauma that hasn't been released, that's what manifests into illness in our body. I want to tell you that I hold you in your experience. I know that 3 years ago, this is what I needed to hear, but that I would have hated hearing it. And so if you're in that space where you hate what I'm saying right now, I'm sending you so much love because I understand and I've been there. But I encourage you to think about it. Even if you decide that I'm batshit crazy, that's fine, but think about it. Really, really go deep into it and think about it. Because I wish that someone had said this to me 3 years ago, 2 years ago, or somebody had said it to me. I'm sending you so much love. You are valid, you are seen, your experience is valid, and it is seen. I see it, and I honor it. But now, don't make it your reality forever. You have that power to choose that, and choose to see where you can go to leave that behind.